No one saw it coming. Indeed, no one saw it coming. There is something the African continent had forgotten that new rising Pan-Africanists are vigorously bringing out. Using what nature has gifted you to get the best out of it. This is not just about putting all eyes on the usual and commonly known things, specifically minerals and fuels, that even a good number of African leaders have seen an opportunity of using them for their own benefits at the expense of suffering citizens. This new change, or call it revolution, is aimed at tapping into every opportunity and resources to make sure that every available opportunity is utilized to ensure that every citizen isn't left out. A good number of African countries are gifted with various resources that they had not been able to utilize properly to get the best out of them. Due to lack of extensive research about various resources, the new rising Pan-Africanists want to change this narrative. When we talk about industrialization in Africa, this may mean welcoming big international companies to come and put in place their usual facilities, which are only focused on the common processing of just already in place scrap metals, mining in raw form while refining done externally, production of beverages with ingredients even provided externally. This is what rising Pan-Africanists, for this case President Ibrahim Traore, are coming out to change. The captain is not only looking at gold as the main focus of industrialization, plus welcoming investors whose intentions are not even known, but tapping into what nature has gifted Burkina Faso. As the world is now aware that the West African country is among the top gold producers in Africa, it is not even aware that Burkina Faso is also gifted with various things majorly agro. As now, many have been used to the new tomato processing plants, cotton processing and textile production plant, among others. A new plant waiting for massive processing comes into place. As it is circulating that Burkina Faso, under President Ibrahim Traore, is coming up with a cashew processing plant, Africans and the rest of the world are shocked. This is what I earlier said, that a good number of African countries are blessed with various resources that they are neglecting due to lack of extensive research about their importance. This video is not only about exaggerating the amount of money and the usual clapping that, "Oh, he has done it again," but is to talk about how good leadership should look like. As Africa, mainly sub-Saharan, is a sibling with climate and soils favorable for agriculture, a large number of crops and plants are available but not properly utilized for better use. This is where the story of cashew comes into place. The cashew's story begins in Brazil, where it was first discovered by Europeans in 1558. It was initially thought inedible due to the irritating shells, but the Tupi Indians showed Europeans how to roast them to remove the irritant. The Portuguese then brought cashews to Goa in India around 1560, where they thrived and spread to other parts of Asia and Africa, eventually becoming a global staple and trade item. The world is mostly used to just a single part of the cashew nut. The global cashew nuts market is a thriving industry, with cashews used extensively in food and non-food applications. The market is projected to grow significantly, driven by increased demand for plant-based foods and ingredients. Cashews are used in various culinary preparations, as well as in industrial settings for producing things like plastics and cosmetic products. Cashew nuts are eaten on their own as a snack or as an ingredient in various sweet and savory dishes. Whole or chopped cashews provide crunch and substance. This leads us to cashew in Burkina Faso. Remember at the beginning of the video, I told you that no one saw it coming. But how? Before the announcement of a cashew processing plant that we have to go deeper, something had already happened. According to an interministerial press release signed on March 28th and made public on April 2nd, 2025, Burkina Faso's President Ibrahim Traore made an unexpected move by suspending cashew nut exports throughout Burkina Faso with immediate effect. This initiative was part of a broader strategy to avail raw cashew nuts locally, which are primarily used as raw material by industrial processing units within the country. This seemed like it was just the usual cases where a nation just creates regulations and restrictions with no much significant justification. But the captain was cooking something marvelous. In this, President Ibrahim Traore, together with the authorities responsible for cashew, had seen holes in the cashew farming and processing sector that needed to be filled. Over the previous 5 years, Burkina Faso has consistently produced an average of 200,000 tons of cashew nuts. The cashew nut has earned its place as the second largest agricultural export product of Burkina Faso in 2023, with more than 120,000 tons sold abroad, grossing over 60 billion CFA francs, around 95 million, based on data from the Burkinabe Cashew Council. You have heard it right. With these interesting results, however, President Ibrahim Traore, together with his colleagues, saw that more has to be done to get the best out of this plant. Burkina Faso is building a 6.65 billion CFA francs cashew plant in Penny, set for 2025. The facility will process 5,000 tons annually, producing juice, wine, vinegar, and alcohol. This is what I earlier said. That research is a key thing the new revolutionists are putting greater emphasis. Only 10% of cashew harvests were processed in 2024, a thing that experts and researchers together with President Ibrahim Traore saw that it had been provided with a clear solution. The extensive research about cashew even has led to rethink about cashew as a whole. As the main focus has been on the cashew nuts specifically, we are seeing that the new plant will add on juice production from the cashew apple that has been always left to rot. The diversification of cashew apple-based products demonstrates the government's desire to maximize the value of this long-neglected resource, especially as cashew almond production, the main transformed product in the cashew sector, continues to struggle to expand. Annually, the unit will spend over 500 million CFA francs purchasing cashews from producers, an exceptional opportunity given that nearly all of the 400,000 tons of cashew apples produced annually in Burkina Faso go to waste or are underutilized because of a lack of processing infrastructure, according to a 2019 sector assessment study by the Study, Training and Development Consulting Center, CFCOD. The Burkina Faso cashew sector generated approximately $111 million in export revenue in 2024, largely due to shipments of raw nuts, as per data compiled from the TradeMap platform. President Ibrahim Traore wants to ensure local processing that can yield even more possible revenue from the plant. When President Ibrahim Traore talked about sovereignty as a whole, he meant it. Almost after a while, him and his cabinet are immensely revolutionizing the industrial sector of Burkina Faso in relationship to other sectors of the country like mining and agriculture. Attaching a country's sectors to industrialization means strategically developing and connecting different sectors of the economy to support and accelerate the industrialization process. This involves focusing on sectors like manufacturing, resource processing, and infrastructure, while also ensuring linkages between these sectors and the wider economy. This is a move with no doubt that every vibrant nation economically has undertaken. Africa's heavy reliance on exporting raw materials has for long presented several challenges, including economic dependency, limited value addition, and vulnerability to global commodity price fluctuations. This dependency, often a legacy of colonial economic structures, hinders the continent's ability to achieve sustainable development and economic transformation. This is why new revolutionists are coming out vigorously to change this. By exporting raw materials, Africa misses out on the potential for higher value exports and economic growth that comes with processing and manufacturing. This can lead to lower incomes and limited job opportunities. In essence, Africa's reliance on raw material exports creates a cycle of dependence, limited economic growth, and vulnerability to external shocks. This is why leaders like President Ibrahim Traore are shifting towards value-added manufacturing, diversification of the economy, and greater intra-African trade, as well as efforts to manage debt and environmental impacts responsibly.